Hi, friends. Welcome to my channel. And we have either good news or bad news today, depending on how you look at it. I will be joining the Talking Head Circus and giving my 2 cents on the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese foul heard across the world. Hope you love a think piece. Doing my best Dan Levitard impression. So, when I was envisioning starting this channel, I never really intended on doing any sort of video about the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese rivalry, for a lack of a better term there, just because I feel like that conversation does a lot more harm than it does good most of the time. And it's become almost impossible for us to have normal conversations about the W when it comes to these two players specifically. And as much as I would love to be like, let's just focus solely on basketball, I don't think that's a luxury that we have anymore with the way that this discourse always warps itself into something really nasty. If you have been living a much happier life than me and have been off the internet for the last few days, you missed that in the season opener, the Fever hosted the Sky. Not a close game at all. Indiana pretty resoundingly won that game. I believe it was the largest home opener victory in Indiana Fever history. Basically, Caitlyn committed a hard foul on Angel. Things got pretty feisty. Aaliyah Boston ended up getting teed up in the whole situation, which I'm still not quite sure how that worked out. And Aaliyah agrees with me on that. She was also quite confused. My opinion on the play itself, on the foul, was like it was just a basketball move. My opinion on Angel getting upset about it was that's just a basketball reaction. Like all of that was incredibly normal to me. And if we saw that in the NBA, we wouldn't think about it twice. Immediately when it happened, I felt just this pit in my stomach for a few reasons, and none of which have anything to do with the actual foul itself or the game itself. I just knew immediately, like, this is going to be awful. Awful for us as fans of good basketball who would love to just talk about good basketball, which the Fever looked really good. And Angel looked good for the Sky. No one else did. I personally think that Angel Reese is the most unfairly hated athlete in sports. The discourse I see about her online and I hear about her in the media and on TV tends to make my skin crawl. Angel has done nothing but go like this and been incredibly successful in her life. She was on the chair of the Met Gala. She has invested in women's sports franchises. She has become just an icon, not only in the women's basketball space, but in the social media space, in the fashion space. That girl is as successful gets, and she does it while being a very good basketball player. Does she need to work on her shot? Yes. And the level of vitriol she receives is disgusting. It's literally disgusting. And that's what made me want to make this video is I think that Caitlyn needs to be a little bit better. And it makes me kind of a little scared saying that because as someone who is a lifelong Iowa fan and Iowa grad, obviously I root for Caitlyn. I root for every Hawk in the W. It can feel almost as if she's untouchable and you don't want to criticize her. And I don't believe I've ever publicly criticized her, probably until now, because she's done so much for the game. She's done so much for Iowa City. She's done so much for this community I care about. And she's an amazing basketball player. She is one of the best in the league. I'd put her right behind Asia Wilson, but she needs to do a little bit more. And what I mean by that is that Caitlyn never really says the wrong thing. When she's asked difficult questions, she gives a good answer always, but I don't think she also says the right thing. I think it's on her and on the Fever and on the W organization to come out and be so direct and so clear and so loud that that shit doesn't fly. And I mean the way that fans who associate themselves with her, not all of them, of course. I think there are very good, normal, healthy Fever and Caitlin Clark fans out there. But there's a very loud bunch who've attached themselves and their agenda to Caitlin, and it's nasty. And the person who gets the worst of that is Angel. The hate is there, whether you like it or not. The Fever had to come out and say, sorry, we're investigating things that have been said at that game. You've had players like Dejanay Carrington come out and say that's the nastiest fan base in the W. You had people on the Fever, Aaliyah Boston, say she had to delete social media because of how awful the fans had become. And I don't think that Caitlyn is inciting that. I don't think she says bring it on, but you need to say stop. And when you're in a league that is mainly minorities, it is mainly black women, it is mainly queer women, you owe it when you have the platform that you do and you have the opportunities that you do, thanks to the women who have come before you, to stand up for those around you. And I just don't think that Caitlyn has done a good job with that. And I know that she's not saying the wrong thing. She's answering the questions in press conferences, she's giving the interviews. After the game, she was very clear it's just a basketball play and it shouldn't be anything more. But that's very different than coming out and directly saying, like, I don't associate with this. And I know that there are other factors going into this. I'm assuming she probably has a PR team, or at least she should. I'm guessing someone runs her social media account. I know that when I was in school at Iowa, at least the football team had to go through pretty intense media training. I'm assuming she had to do the same thing. So this is a lot of like ingrained behavior. And it's also kind of scary to push back on your audience, especially when they support you and there's a financial investment involved with that. At a certain point, like it just can't fly anymore. You just have to look out for the people around you. And Angel doesn't deserve that shit. And also the W, look out for people, especially when you know that like the environment at the Fever tends to be nasty. I've seen the pictures of how people with their nails and their nasty signs and their really disgusting t-shirts. You've got to have some sort of presence there, once again saying like we don't want you here. The whole thing is really just disheartening because what Angel goes through, I can't imagine. What Kaylin goes through, I can't imagine. And she needs to say something because these fans think they're doing it in her honor. We're doing this to support her. Girl, tell them you don't want it. As for the game itself, which, like, thank God we get to talk about that now. Chicago, you cannot leave Angel on an island like that. Somebody else needs to help. Camilla, help out. Courtney, help out. Somebody do something. For the Fever, that's a good basketball team. Stephanie White's got them in shape. The muscle Caitlin's put on, you could see it in display. She's a lot stronger. The veteran presence is already so different. Just the turnovers alone for those numbers who have dropped down for Caitlin, you can already tell that the supporting cast around her is a lot stronger. And the fact that we had someone move up the all-time WNBA scoring list. Congratulations, Dewana Bonner. And we're not talking about that till whatever time in this video. We need to do a palate cleanse. It's going to be a good season. We all just need to behave a little bit more normally. I'm hoping that this is the last time we have to have one of these, types of discussions because I don't think they're particularly fun, but I also don't think you can ignore them when they're happening everywhere. And also selfishly, I see the reputation Fever and Iowa fans are getting, and I don't want to be associated with that. I want to make sure it is on record that I do not fuck with that. As always, if you liked this video, then you have to physically like it. It's a law. You don't want to break the law. That would be illegal. So, and if you didn't like this video, you have to comment and share, but you're only allowed to comment nice things. So that's also the law as well. And let me know what we want to chat about next. Hopefully, it's a lot more fun. This one kind of bums me out. I got to be honest.